хозяйству, городскому планированию и лесному хозяйству.
City planning, forestry. We are very glad that you have got together at this meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. We met at previous workshops, and quite often we, on behalf of Geneva, we were present online. Today, many of us are already here. So let me remind you once again that this meeting takes place today is in a hybrid mode. And so a lot of people who have already joined us are participating online. So please, when you speak, please don't forget about the microphone. It will be both in Russian and English. We have two interpreters, simultaneous interpreters, and we have another interpreter in the room and an online interpreter. So after these logistical issues, I'm happy to give the floor for the opening to Chairman of the Bishkek City Bishkek. Please. Good morning, dear friends, colleagues. We have got together here today. I'm happy to welcome Mr. Novar Alam Muranovar, Mr. Dmitry Maryashin. We are meeting here today and would like to express my gratitude to all of you for the work that we have done together. I hope that this work and the questions that we are going to discuss today will be a good impetus, will provide an impetus for the city, as we are going to discuss some pilot projects that will also give an impetus for further implementation for large-scale issues for the city of Bishkek and our residents and people in Bishkek. So I don't want to hold your attention with the words of introduction. So I suggest that we go over to the discussion of these questions and to the program and agenda itself. If you have any comments or questions, please, you're welcome. Okay, please now. So I would like to invite Mr. Mirlan Kuzbekovich Bagvanchogov. Thank you. Thank you, Amar Aliyevich, dear colleagues. We are delighted to welcome you here at this workshop, the cooperation of the City of Bishkek with the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, and the practical results of this cooperation. As you know, in 2019, we addressed, and with the support of UNECE special program for the development of housing in the city was developed. Within the framework of this program, many citizens participated in sociological development in this issue. So with joint efforts, we have done a comprehensive study on different indicators for smart and sustainable cities, and we developed recommendations for further consistent development of the city of Bishkek and its residential areas. So in mid-2021, cooperating with UNECE, our municipality have gone through the special trial clinic program to build logistics in residential areas, which will provide jobs in the future for our citizens and will provide additional sources of income for the system. Currently, we work with the Economic and Social Commission initiative for Asia, and as we build infrastructure and social facilities. It is with great pleasure that we have to know the our expertise in joint initiatives, and we are really thankful to UNECE team for their contribution to the development of Bishkek. So we have prepared an overview for the smart and sustainable city development and the agenda for the period up to 2030 on a local level. So we do hope that any further cooperation will give us an opportunity to raise direct investments to improve the infrastructure in our housing and also in our economy and financial system in the period during and after the pandemic of COVID-19. So I wish to all participants in this workshop a fruitful and successful activity. Thank you. Thank you. Next floor is given to Deputy Executive Secretary, the UNECE, Mr. Dmitry Maryasyan. The Speaker, the First Vice Mayor, Mr. Alam, dear colleagues, I'm happy to welcome you here on behalf of the European UN Economic Commission. My name is Dmitry Maryasyan. I'm a Deputy Executive Secretary. So would like to present to you today the specific results of our activities, our work in Bishkek as a smart and sustainable city, the city that is ready for new tests. We live in hard times, and so there will be a lot of testing, a lot of different hardships maybe in for the city infrastructure. So whether the city is ready for that in terms of infrastructure, in terms of the environment for the development of small and medium businesses, and from the viewpoint of our ability to deal with environmental problems will depend on our citizens, of course. But it is highly important that today this workshop, we will be dealing with specific technical issues. Dear Mr. Speaker and the first Vice Mayor of the city, your understanding and your political support is of high importance. I do hope that the questions that we discussed today with the experts will play the foundation for further initiatives in Bishkek and will turn into additional ideas for financing both on a nationwide level and on the urban level. And talking about the program that is now being launched jointly with the initiative for the development of urban development in Asia. We are planning to go over to large-scale projects that have been prepared professionally and that are ready for being presented to serious investors. So we do hope that yesterday and today we discussed how important it is to have these clear-cut modern-day projects taking into account all the ESG criteria, a comprehensive setting of these considerations, quite serious and complicated projects. So the quality will, of course, be determined by the successful work in this area. And so whether it is realistic to upscale these projects, in our estimate, in 5 housing residential areas, one way or the other, 75,000 people will receive the benefits from these projects. In order to make it possible, we, all of us, should work on this. And on behalf of UNECE, we suggest an expert support on a global level. So let me note at this point that Bishkek is one of the 10 cities in the region where such pilot program is being implemented. And we suggest that the expertise, our expertise that we accumulated, but of course the organization itself depends on the city itself. And in the hands of partners, we are going to work with our UN partners, the resident coordinator. I'm really thankful to our colleagues from the UN Development Program, UN Habitat, for their support extended to us. I know that it was a large scale, a major program that was played by the Asian Development Bank. And so we will be able to go over to real implementation. Let me know the special role played by the mayor's office of Bishkek. So without their support, of course, we wouldn't be able to prepare this overview and to about the resilience and sustainability of the system. First of all, Kuralev and Knyazhev. So these are the team of people that really helped us to get ready with all the materials. I do hope that this team, the team from the Kyrgyz National University, Transport and Architecture, will continue to work with us in the next 2 or 3 years while will be piloting this project. I do hope that Bishkek will become a model city in terms of resilience, innovation development, and overcoming acute social and environmental problems. So we are ready to extend any support that is possible in this area. And also on my behalf and from UNECE, I would like to say thanks to Gulnara for her role in promoting the subject. So you can count on her support and my support. So we do hope that we continue working in this area.
Следующее слово предоставляется руководителю
Thank you,
канцелярии.
Dmitry. And I would like to give the floor now to the Mr. Manuel Alam.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon. My apologies. I am the only odd one out here speaking English.
Я извиняюсь за то, что я, наверное, один-единственный такой, который говорит только по-английски.
But it's a lot of moral pressure on me to learn Russian as quickly as possible.
Но для меня создает определенные моральные обязательства, чтобы я мог учиться языку общения, русскому языку.
Maybe next time when I come, maybe I would be able to say a few words in Russian.
И я надеюсь,
This
что
is my
в следующий раз,
resolve.
когда я буду на такой же встрече, я смогу уже несколько слов по-русски сказать.
So it is my honor to speak at this important workshop organized by the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe in collaboration with City Government of Bishkek.
Для меня большая честь выступить на этом важном семинаре, который организован Европейской экономической комиссией ООН совместно с мэрией города Бишкек.
I want to thank Chairman of the Bishkek City Council, Mr. Kongin Tiyev, and the first mayor of the city of Bishkek, Mr. Bekun Chokov, and also Mr. Dmitry Ryasin, Executive Secretary of UNECE, who has specially flown from Geneva for this workshop and for other meetings.
И я хотел бы поблагодарить господина Конгантиева, спикера городского кенеша, Мирланбека Баганчокова, вице-мэра Бишкека. Также хотел бы поблагодарить Дмитрия Марьясина, исполнительного секретаря ЕКОН, который специально прилетел для того, чтобы принять участие в этом семинаре из Женевы. Всем большое спасибо.
Today in this room we have big presence of United Nations system in Kyrgyzstan.
И сегодня в этом зале мы видим достаточно большое представительство от системы ООН здесь, в Кыргызстане.
Besides UNECE, we have Assistant Resident Coordinator of UNDP, Mr. Erkin Beg, and then Nuria Choiba, who is my own colleague, and Nurshad and Uluk Beg from Resident Coordinator's Office.
Помимо ЮНЕК мы также видим, что у нас присутствует ассистент координатора ООН и многие другие сотрудники.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to start by highlighting the importance of cities in the socio-economic development of any country, including Kyrgyzstan.
Дамы и господа, я хотела бы начать с того, что подчеркнуть очень большую важность той роли, которую города играют в социально-экономическом развитии любой страны, включая Кыргызскую республику.
Throughout human history, cities have provided some of the greatest ideas and innovations, and cities are also regarded as engines of economic growth.
И на протяжении всей человеческой истории города предоставляли самые большие, самые интересные идеи и инновации. Города также служат очень важными центрами, двигателями экономического роста.
It is estimated that 750 largest cities in the world, they account for about more than 60% of global GDP.
Также по оценке на 750 крупнейших городов мира приходится примерно 60% от глобального ВВП.
Seeing this study, I see not surprising that the government of the Kyrgyz Republic has recently assigned due priority to urban development and modernization of cities in its national development strategy. I have found this approach fully in line with international practices and trends.
И поэтому неудивительно, что правительство Кыргызской Республики определило надлежащий приоритет городскому развитию, модернизации городов в своей национальной стратегии развития. И поэтому я считаю, что это полностью соответствует тем международным тенденциям и практикам, которые мы можем с вами наблюдать.
With more than 50% of global population projected to be living in the urban areas by 2030, city governments all over the world have enormous challenges of sustainable development.
И учитывая то, что более 50% глобального населения, по прогнозам, будут жить в городской местности к 2030 году, перед городскими государственными органами стоят очень огромные вызовы большого масштаба с точки зрения устойчивого городского развития.
It is for this reason that Sustainable Development Goal number 11, which is about sustainable cities and communities, is one of the 17 SDGs.
И именно по этой причине цель устойчивого развития 11, которая посвящена устойчивым городам и сообществам, была включена как одна из 17 целей устойчивого развития.
This specific SDG is aimed at to make cities inclusive, safe, resilient and sustainable.
И эта конкретная цель устойчивого развития 11 нацелена на то, чтобы сделать города инклюзивными, безопасными, жизнестойкими и устойчивыми.
And this very much resonates with the priorities of the City of Bishkek and equally with that of the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe.
И эта цель очень созвучна с приоритетами города Бишкека, а также с приоритетами Европейской экономической комиссии ООН.
With this point of view, I think today's workshop is very important and very relevant and timely.
И учитывая важность устойчивого развития, я хотела бы отметить, что сегодняшний семинар является очень уместным и очень своевременным.
UNECE is also going to launch a publication on smart sustainable cities profile, which were based on indicators of smart sustainable cities.
И он также планирует запустить публикацию профилей умных устойчивых городов, которая основана на индикаторах устойчивого умного развития городов.
I'm sure during this workshop, participants will get to know more of the ongoing work that UNECE is doing in collaboration with the City of Bishkek and other partners. I would like to especially mention about two projects on building urban economic resilience and sustainable smart cities, and also the online e-learning course.
И я также уверен, что во время этого семинара участники узнают очень много информации в отношении текущего сотрудничества, которое сейчас осуществляется между ЕКОН, городом Бишкек и другими партнерами, и в частности по таким двум проектам, как наращивание экономической устойчивости городов, умные устойчивые города для повестки дня до 30 года, а также онлайновые платформы для электронного обучения ЕКОН.
Mr. Chair, there can be no denying about the ongoing challenges of urbanization, complexities of decentralization, and increasing expectations of the citizens on the quality and the coverage of the social services being provided to them.
Господин председатель, я хотел бы сказать, что нельзя не отметить такие текущие вызовы, которые стоят перед городами с точки зрения урбанизации, сложности децентрализации и увеличивающихся ожиданий со стороны граждан в отношении как качества, так и охвата муниципальными услугами.
I would like to just briefly touch upon the issue of informal settlements, something that UNECE is already working on in collaboration with your office chair.
Я хотела бы кратко остановиться на таком вопросе, как неформальные поселения. Это та тема, та область, над которой ЕКОН в настоящее время работает совместно с мэрией Бишкек.
Somehow the word poverty has been tagged to rural poverty. Uh, I think that poverty, whether it is rural or urban, is a big challenge for all the governments because it can lead to big socioeconomic issues.
Однако у большей части людей слово «бедность» ассоциируется с сельской местностью. Но хотел бы отметить, что неважно, это сельская или городская местность, бедность представляет собой очень серьезную социально-экономическую проблему и, соответственно, становится вызовом для городского управления.
Informal settlements have enormous urban poverty.
И неформальные поселения сталкиваются с очень большими проблемами с точки зрения бедности.
As a student of public administration, I've observed that there is no ideal system for city governance. The management in each country is a work in progress, which basically reflect the country's history, politics, culture, and the stage of development.
И когда я еще изучал вопросы государственного администрирования, я сделал для себя наблюдение, что на самом деле не существует какой-то идеальной системы для управления городами. И поэтому эта система представляет собой механизм, который использует каждая страна на своем рабочем процессе, и он развивается в процессе этой работы для того, чтобы отражать и историю страны, политику, культуру, а также этап развития.
City governments need to take different approaches to sustainable development depending upon the circumstances.
И, конечно, государственные органы управления должны учитывать разные подходы к устойчивому развитию в зависимости от того, в каких обстоятельствах они находятся.
Depending upon its situation, city governments can either be a provider of services or a regulator or as an enabler of service provision.
И в зависимости от того, какая ситуация существует на данном этапе, городские государственные органы могут выступать и в качестве поставщика услуг, или в качестве регулятора, или даже действовать как орган, который создает благоприятные условия для предоставления необходимых услуг.
I am sure during this workshop, participants will discuss these issues at a more greater depth.
Я уверен, что во время этого семинара участники обсудят все эти вопросы более подробно и детально.
So with these few words, I would like to thank all of you and the chair and vice chair and Mr. Dimitri. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
И на этом я хотел бы поблагодарить всех вас за внимание, хотел бы поблагодарить председателя, заместителя председателя, а также Дмитрия. Спасибо большое.
Спасибо, господин Мунавар. Дальше слово предоставляется Гульнар вам. Вы дальше, наверное, уже будете сами модерировать, да?
I would like to give the floor now to Gulnara, and she will probably continue to moderate this meeting. Thank you very much for the words of welcome, and we would like to go over to the technical part of this workshop. The first section of it is actually related to the launching of the reviews to a profile of Bishkek as a smart and sustainable city. We have already discussed that, and we have had a number of workshops where we discussed and analyzed this work. I would like to reiterate certain recommendations today, and since we are here present today and working face to face, and I also know that there are representatives of the legislature and our colleagues from the UN agencies who are present here today in a face-to-face format and online. We would like to listen to what kind of projects you have in mind in order to resolve the issues that we are currently facing, and what kind of assistance do you have in mind that you would like to get on our side. We have met with the National Statistics Committee today, and we discussed the issue of the importance of data and all we do. Therefore, such comments and your analysis and your recommendations would be greatly appreciated. I would like to start with saying that we are launching today the English language version of this publication as Bishkek, a smart, sustainable city. And this will become accessible on the website today. This will also be accessible in the Russian language. Currently, it is being translated, and it would be a great pleasure for us if Bishkek could arrange translation of the document into the Kyrgyz language so that everybody could read this analysis. Because this analysis based on 92 indicators is quite complicated, and I wouldn't like to go into details of this analysis, but I would like to focus on the key recommendations. I will try to open this presentation now.
Я хотела бы его открыть, конечно, в Zoom.
I would like to open it in Zoom and share the screen, but unfortunately, well, one of the recommendations is very real. It's the problem with internet. Unfortunately, I am unable to open my presentation in the Zoom software, although we had a test yesterday, but it looks like I will not be able to open the file, unfortunately, in Zoom. Therefore, I would go over to saying a few words about what I will try once again to open it. There we go. I would like to briefly go over the key results. And I would like to say that we had 5 cities participating in this project. As of today, we have finished the work on Grodno and Nur-Sultan, and Bishkek is the 3rd city for which we are preparing this review in the region. So what's the general approach to this concept? We have an international program, which is referred to as the Smart Sustainable City Program. It's based on the analysis of data, on interviews, preparing recommendations, and working out specific projects, because for UNECE, it is very important not to finish our efforts with publications. It is very important to continue working on specific projects, and it is very soon that we are going to go over to this specific project work. This publication that we are launching today is the basis for the continued effort, and some recommendations are already being used in the implementation activity, and we would like to continue to go ahead and work with view to the other recommendations as well. The analysis testified, and probably you won't find anything new for yourself, and we have built a consensus as to where the salient points are and where we should move forward. We know that the cities are developing very fast, and the population, urban population, grows. And we see that based on the data, of course, we use the data dating back to 2020, and the situation is currently changing. And Bishkek will soon have more than but by the year 2035, it will have an influx of more than 400,000 people. And this is a very important factor of the development of the city. And of course, it's a basis for the measures that have to be taken. Based on the data from 2020, we also see that there was a rapid growth of city gross product, and the product was actually growing both on the city level and on the national level. At the same time, we saw that this fast economic development and fast population growth was not accompanied by the necessary strategic planning. It was falling behind the growth of population and the economic growth of the city. And the issue of informal settlements appeared to be a forefront issue. And one of the main problems here is the number of unregistered land plots, like 89%, for instance, in Kalysardo. And the fast growth of these settlements actually provokes the growth of problems related to sanitary and basic services.
As the analysis shows, power supply, which is mainly based on coal, especially in residential areas, but it is revealed not only in this brief overview, but there are certain data regarding transit, public transport, which is also a quite formidable problem in these residential areas. And of course, the air quality, which is now the result of coal usage and also pollution produced by cars, automotive transport, is quite a serious problem. So these data demonstrate that 8% of respiratory diseases are caused by air pollution. We have used some indicators, the key performance indicators reflecting the urban economy, the overall environment, the culture levels. I'm not going to go into much detail on that because we were planning to make it a kind of a working meeting today. But what I would like to say that we lacked certain data for the analysis. So the question remains regarding the quality of this data. Therefore, we had a very good discussion with the National Statistics Committee regarding the improvements in the data collection service. Well, in the final outcome, we have obtained this diagram in the shape of a wheel. The red highlighted areas are the main problems. The green ones are those which have already been resolved. So we have come to our conclusions on the basis of this analysis. What is important to note at this point is that in addition to those problems that already existed in the city, COVID-19 had also had an adverse effect on the overall situation in the city. We have done a few interviews, analyzed data that will allow us to arrive at the next conclusions. So the need for food supply support. In this sense, I think they've done a great job in Bishkek on the distribution of foodstuffs. Also, there was quite a serious problem regarding the access to reliable communications. especially internet communications, because a lot of people worked in online during the pandemic. So that's one of the problems that we have to take into account as well. Now, as regards the comments and recommendations, the first set of such recommendations is mainly related with the city planning. First of all, the program of for the further development and the investment and financing mechanisms, so as to create the basic infrastructure. From this viewpoint, as regards the long-term planning, I would like to again to draw your attention to the question of data usage and the especially the use of aggregated data on the city level, and also to improve the standards for data collection. Another subject is directly related to residential areas, inventory of land plots, amendments in the rules, formalization of rules, updating and upgrading informal settlements, step-by-step refusal to use coal, and utilities planning. Now, the question of the affordable housing is another important subject. The city building, construction, the city transport infrastructure, and also, as I've already noted, improving internet access and increasing the overall level of digital literacy. Improving the infrastructure of water supply and sanitary measures, sewing, improvement of sewing system in informal settlements. And here at this point, we wanted to offer, I think we will do this at the next session, our recommendations on the economic analysis of the city. Since the city is engaged in the recovery after, in the post-pandemic period, which is a very important subject, and also extend the period for the city sewage system service. Solid waste upgrade, management upgrade system as another subject, including those in the residential areas. So these were just brief comments and brief notes regarding our recommendations, because they've been reflected in this publication, and they are closely watched by international investors and organizations. Therefore, we will be really happy to listen to your opinions on that, and how these recommendations can be implemented. And well, possibly now we can go over to one of the subjects that were raised during this overview, that's regarding the housing and residential areas. Would like to give the floor to Tolobay Kaneshev, Director, State Design of Urban Planning and Architecture, State Agency of Architecture, Construction and Housing. Thank you very much, dear colleagues, dear workshop participants. Beginning in 2019, as during the first stage of this program, Smart and Sustainable City of Bishkek, at the Isanov University, the Kyrgyz State University, Construction, Transport and Architecture, we studied during a period of 2 years, 5 residential areas, just for people who are participating this workshop for the first time. Let me explain why we have selected these 5 areas. What was the underlying principle? How we did this with participation of the residents. Pervomaysky district, Sverdlovsky district, Raz Oktябрьский district, and Leninsky district. In terms of area, scale, and the number of residents, they absolutely different. Well, I don't see the present. I think they cannot display the presentation so far, but let me talk about this a bit more. So what was the key problem that we faced there? So as we, all of us are aware, over the last decade, the annual population growth was about 100,000 people, including the Bishkek itself. You know, the population growth is quite significant, and which is, of course, related to a sustainable functioning of the city. And since we have already 47 such residential areas, what we are supposed to do with that? Because the first areas that were organized prior to this time in 1989, so that's already 30 years ago. And after this, we have been witnessing stage by stage financing of these areas to help them in many issues. So when we identified these 5 residential areas in the city, and that's how we decided, upon recommendation of the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, we decided to find out the opinion of residents themselves. So in the year 2000, we conducted surveys, opinion polls in these areas jointly with the administration. So basically, it was a representative opinion poll because from we had about 2% of residents that participated in the opinion poll, and because many people who lived in Bishkek, but they did not have jobs there. So what we wanted to make sure to do this with a kind of a town planning, with a focus on town planning and how people can live in the city and how they can participate in the economic development of the city. To raise the cultural level, and which is directly related to the town planning activities. Well, basically in all these 5 areas, we have received quite different answers, different responses in all. So there are quite diverse data on that score. And all indicators, especially regarding the cultural facilities, transit, legislative efforts, and in respect of the land plots. So we have received data that vary so much, but we have somehow grouped them together. And so that's how we got the results of this analysis for all these 5 areas. We've done also the legal study, and that we have submitted to the mayor's office, of course, so that we could understand how we can make decisions on a local level. Social problems, of course, were also in the focus of attention, the opinion of people, population themselves, economic analysis, how many shops, baths, pharmacies, and so on and so forth. You know, how many should be present in accordance with the construction standards, and of course they're lagging behind in these terms. And of course, as regards the trade outlets and facilities, they are more or less closer to the standards. As for cultural facilities, recreation facilities, There were also issues raised with the local people on a high level. So the key problems that we have started so far in the residential areas basically they comprise 9 to 10 points. The top problems, that have to be addressed immediately. Upon recommendations of UNECE, we have for each of these areas, we have produced 5 drawings for each of these areas. Unfortunately, we do not have specific topographic maps, so we have to use the Google Maps, which may not be very precise, but anyway, they still provide some kind of orientation to us. We've also used, since we attached drawings to the master plan in these 5 residential areas, we have now worked out the following recommendation on the full-fledged reconstruction and renovation of these comlinks and what kind of costs it amounts to in economic terms, what will be the real cost of this reconstruction and what we could do ourselves. So with the support provided by the mayor's office, we have specified once again, and since we in our Department of Town Planning, we have conducted our own monitoring process. We came out with these 5 drawings for each of these 5 areas, and we have placed the so-called industrial logistic centers in these residential areas. So when we did this opinion poll in proceeding from the employment of the population, we received figures such as, overall it's about 18 main items and main areas of activity. So in Pervomaysky districts, Atanbekov helped us a lot with this. We have even carried out an analysis on that, and it's proved to be very efficient indeed. So the people are in fact ready to participate, to take part in all of these activities, and so as to use and to work in these proposed areas. Logistics and industrial centers were planned. So taking into account the opinion poll, our analysis, and the data provided by the administrations in localities, I think there were quite good results indeed, and we tried to tally up roughly the cost of these measures. So basically, for all these 5 areas, if we need to do a comprehensive work there, we would need basically in overall about $83 billion. That is for 10 to 15 years. So in fact, we have already reported on that and on these figures. So thanks to the support of the European Economic Commission, Mr. Mariasian has just mentioned this already, so as to calculate this once again, drawing up some business plans. So the $500,000 were allocated to Bishkek as a grant to prepare for this work this year. So I've been working for quite a long time in this project, but it's for the first time that we see some specific actions, specific moves that where we can acting through the consultants of European Economic Commission, we can get a document so as to obtain credits, loans through the Asian bank or European bank. So if, you know, it's, even if it's scheduled for 10 or 15 years, I think we would be able to readjust our activities. It's a kind of a new model that is could be used for engineering and design work, and then we would be able to organize and to implement this project. So it's basically this law, the law on social and state order, a contract, and public-private partnership. Unfortunately, they do not work, these laws. So using the legal foundation of these two laws, we could probably enter a new organizational level with the city authorities. So if the deputies support us, I think we can probably prepare this within the 1 year, prepare such a document. It could proceed further.
Большое спасибо, Седак Матович.
Thank you very much. Now, if there are any questions, immediate questions pertaining to the presentations that we have heard, there are no questions. Then I would like to give the floor to Laravya, who's a specialist from the Cdia, and I would like to give the floor to Larry now. And she will join us, will be joining us in an online mode.
Hello, everybody. Can people hear me?
Yes, we do.
Hello. I don't know whether you can see my screen. I'm not very good at Zoom, I'm afraid. So I'm more used to Teams, but you know, with the technical challenge, I'm trying my best to do this presentation. We would have really liked to be in Bishkek personally, but such is life. So I am joining you from Manila. My name is Lara Arjan, and I am the project officer for Cdia, Cities Development Initiative of Asia. And at the same time, concurrently, I am urban development specialist for the Asian Development Bank. I think I'm very enthused by the presentations that were given previously. And the opening remarks. I think we're all here because we have a keen interest in creating sustainable, resilient, equitable, and smart cities. And I feel that the way Bishkek is going is very conducive to building these kind of livable cities where people can live, play, work, and have a good life. And I think with COVID as well, we've seen how cities have been important in combating the pandemic and making sure that people's livelihood is not extremely impacted. So the way the presentations were that we cascaded from the overall umbrella policy with the UNECE study. What I find amazing is that it was all data informed, and then we go down to public participation, validating the data, asking people what they wanted, and drawing up the plans. So we went from a higher level of policy to a sort of lower level of policy with plans that have become plans that have been formulated with people. So here comes CDIA. This is where we enter. So what is CDIA? CDIA is a trust fund that was established in 2018 as a trust fund. And we do have co-financing partners who are Austria, European Union, France, Germany, Republic of Korea, Rockefeller Foundation, Switzerland, United Kingdom, and the Urban Climate Change Resilient Trust Fund, which is a trust fund at ADB. So we work in close collaboration with these financing partners, and ADB, as the Asian Development Bank, manages this trust fund. What is CDIA? We're a project preparation facility. So when cities have these plans, we come in, we look at these plans, and we help these cities prioritize their infrastructure. And we prepare them as pre-feasibility, feasibility studies, and we help the cities link these projects after prioritizing them and after studying their feasibility with downstream funders. Downstream funders could be anybody. It could be potentially the Asian Development Bank, but it could be the World Bank. It could be any of the governments, KfW, AFD. Potentially, we are very open to who picks up the projects downstream. Now, we don't provide a lot of money, but it's enough money to have a decent study in, as my previous speaker said, in about a year. We provide grants, so they're money that we provide in grant form, and they're about $500,000. And we also ask our counterpart cities to provide in-kind contribution. And we're very effective in disbursement, so we disperse the amounts of money very, very quickly. So far, we have generated about, that's starting in 2007, before CDIA was a trust fund, it was a technical assistance. We've been able to generate 12.2 billion investments. We've worked in 127 secondary cities in 22 countries, and we have commissioned 113 of these studies. And since the beginning, we have mobilized about $112 million. So $112 million leveraged investments worth $12.2 billion. So why do we like to work with cities? It's because cities promote innovation. We also provide, we support climate resilience. We promote inclusion. Through cities, we look at gender mainstreaming. We look also not only at the, doing the pre-feasibility feasibility study, but we also like to develop human capital in the cities we work with, either by encouraging city-to-city learning, where soon we are going to have a Bishkek Ulaanbaatar workshop that is going to bring together people in Ulaanbaatar working on informal settlement upgrade with Bishkek city. But also we like to strengthen the management, the management skills of the cities as well. So we look at human capital. Very, very important part of our studies is some technical assistance in terms of capacity development. What we do is we go in, we identify problems, we help cities prioritize their projects, we do the project preparation study, then we do institutional capacity development roadmap, and we do the monitoring and evaluation of our project preparation studies. And hopefully, after doing these studies will be linked to downstream finance, as I said before. So in September, Bishkek participated in one of our virtual clinics. Since it was COVID time, it was very difficult for us to travel, because usually we travel to cities and we meet cities and we prospect and we talk about ideas. But we invited Bishkek to this virtual clinic, and there was a proposition to support a comprehensive upgrade of 5 settlements that benefits 75,000 inhabitants. And this project will serve as a demonstration for sustainable development for other informal settlements, not only, I guess, in Kyrgyz, but in different other countries as well. And the program will look to improve services such as water, sanitation, solid waste, drainage, gas, heating. But not only that, I think, as my predecessor said, we look also, the project will be looking at job creation, which is very, very important because we need to be using these areas and neighborhoods as engines for job creation and economic development. So we will be able to provide the study and then also support Bishkek in identifying downstream funders. The study will look at the pre-feasibility and the feasibility of a list of projects that we would prioritize in close collaboration with the city. Now, the application has just been endorsed and it was approved by the Cdia Trust Fund Management in March, on March 6th, so just a few days ago. So now I just want to go very quickly in terms of where we are right now. And we've received the application. Now we will start preparing the TOR and we will hire consultants. This whole process pre-COVID used to take about 3 to 4 months. I would say that the whole hiring right now from today is around 3 months. In order to be able to hire consultants, write a TOR, and to then mobilize and have the consultants work on completion of the study. The studies usually take 6 to 8 months. So I would expect around a year from today, we will have hopefully a study that we would be launching or in a workshop all together again, looking at the projects that have been identified. I'm going to leave you with their videos of completed reports, projects that CDIA did. I encourage you to visit our website to learn more about CDIA, and we look forward to working with you all. Thank you very much.
Большое спасибо. Есть ли какие-то вопросы сейчас Кларе?
Thank you very much. Are there any questions you would like to ask of Laura now as regards the project plans or anything? No questions so far. Thank you very much, Laura. We are very grateful for this kind of cooperation with your esteemed organization, and we'll be looking forward to the next workshop. And I would like to give the floor to Balabek Pilov, to the head of the Capital Construction Department of the Mayor's Office of Bishkek. Good morning and good afternoon, dear participants of our today's workshop. It is our privilege to be able to welcome you at this event today. And there's a big delegation representing the UNECE. Today, we have been cooperating very closely for the last 2 years, and we would like to see this work to take less time. However, the COVID pandemic definitely had its call, and we have been moving slower than we wanted to. We actually applied for the assistance in developing the projects and feasibility reports in order to attract grants and loans. Our organization, our department, is the ordering party for such kind of projects, and it is our direct responsibility. In addition, our department is actually involved in attracting the grants and other means of international organizations. As of today, as it was noted a little bit earlier by our previous speakers, um, the first stage of our joint efforts has come to an end, and we would like to see the second stage as regards the development of the specific program to move forward fast. And we would like to see it going very effectively and promptly in order for us to be able to soon start implementing our tasks and achieving objectives. It is a great news that our applications with CDI has been endorsed, and we hope that the experts will arrive into Bishkek as soon as possible to start their activity, and we will have a fruitful cooperation with them. In addition, well, the work that has already been done was focused on in the presentation of my colleague speaker earlier, and all the details and all the stages of the joint work were reflected in that presentation. I would like to see the next stage. I would like to see a specific timeline and the technical details, technical equipment details for the office to be considered within this project as well. We will have to create a committee that will be directly involved into the implementation, and I believe that this will be the responsibility of the mayor's office. And this committee should include the representatives of various stakeholders who will be involved in this feasibility study as regards the development of these 5 settlements. The data on the 5 settlements were actually provided in the presentations that we have already heard, and I would not like to go over these details again. I hope that our work will continue at the same rate, and we will be able to achieve our goals. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much, Balatbek Tachuyevich. Are there any questions as regards this topic of these 5 settlements? We know that it is an important topic for you, for us all, and we are interested in hearing your opinions as regards the priorities, maybe in the development of these settlement areas. Are there any questions or proposals, ideas? We know that the heads of the districts are present here today, which accommodate these residential areas. And we would like to ask them whether the priorities that have been set for this project correspond to your way of thinking as regards priorities of the development of these residential areas. I would like to give the floor to the heads of these districts. Dear participants, as regards our district, there are two residential areas that are part of the project. These 2 residential areas are in the lower part of the city, and there are lots of problems that the residents are facing there. We discussed the budget today, and there were drainage issues discussed and road construction issues. In this respect, if there's a number of things to be done as regards improvement of the infrastructure of these settlements. More detailed information can be provided later on, and we will take into account all the comments and proposals. Leninsky district, please. Thank you, dear colleagues. Well, we do have a lot of problems related to our residential areas, and it would be great to work on them together. And I would like to express our gratitude for your participation and your involvement in resolving all these issues. We would like to see Bishkek as a smart, sustainable city, and we definitely provide all the support that the project needs. We have a whole host of problems to be resolved in these settlements. Thank you.
Good afternoon, dear participants in Oktyabrski district, Rus. We have a population. We have 1,000 household in Rus. Also, we face the same problems such as school, water supply, roads. So we are ready to work together with you on all of these projects. Thank you. It was really nice to meet you in person last time. We conducted this workshop, but we are very happy to see you here again this time. So of course we are going to carry out work on that, and we are expecting you at our next events. Now we are closing this session on residential areas. It's not doesn't mean that we close the subject. We will continue cooperation in this area, but we would like to mention another report, another overview, which is quite topical for including the residential areas, how we are going to overcome the economic aftermath of the pandemic. Well, of course, we will face some other issues right now related to the economy, and this will require additional work on that. But would you like to say just very briefly, so we are working on this smart, sustainable, resilient city in Bishkek project. Let me tell you a few words about this project, and then my colleague Bakit Bekov will give you an analysis and their proposals, and we do hope to have your comments again, because that's a really important subject, and we are planning to carry out our discussions with you on the city level, and we do hope that it will happen on the district level as well. The next slide, please.
Может быть, я это сделаю сама, будет быстрее. Да, наверное, будет быстрее.
Okay, I'll try to do it myself. Thank you. We are really happy that Bishkek responded to our invitation to join this project. So as soon as COVID-19 started in early 2020, we are talking not only about a health impact. I think, well, what is really important is how the cities can get out of this situation, dealing with their socioeconomic problems. Massive loss of jobs and unemployment, dwindling local government revenues, enormous losses in the urban economy. There were 16 cities in all in different countries for which we have developed our methodology. and tested our tools. As you can see, we have partners all over the world. UNECE is the economic commission that works in the Eurasian region, but also there's a commission dealing with Africa, Asia, Latin America. So that was a great opportunity for all of us to see how it works. So when we get all the results of these studies, how the different cities are handling this process and what kind of measures have to be undertaken in different cities. What is really important to say, it would be really important for us to work as close as possible with you in implementing these measures in the cities. So we've analyzed a lot of data, and we will be really happy to work on the socio-economic development program. So we'll probably invite more international experts as we want to see specific results. This should not be just on the level of publications. So these 16 cities that were participants in the project, Tirana, Bishkek, Kharkiv, Yaoundé in Africa, Accra and Harare in Latin America, Guayaquil, Lima, Santo Domingo in Asia, Egypt, Kuwait, Lebanon, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Fiji. So that's a really global, a comprehensive project. So thanks to your interest and political will on a global level, you are, look very positive. So we would be really happy to hear the results, to get the results of this particular study on this project as well. So what kind of activities and deliverables we can talk about? The Urban Economic Recovery and Resilience Diagnostic and Planning Tool. On this basis, we did regional policy briefs on urban economic recovery and resilience, and we have now prepared economic resilience building plans. That's what we are going to discuss today, and we will definitely continue a series of meetings between among all these 16 cities, but also with other cities all over the world, and how we can, so to see how we can carry on this analysis and what kind of measures can be arranged in terms of economic planning. So these plans, and you've had a brief on your note on your desk. As you can see, this cover with preliminary recommendations and the key tasks and objectives of the economic resilience building plan that were related to creating conditions for resilience of local business environment, as I mentioned. That is, of course, due to the main problems, the key problems faced by not only Bishkek, but many other cities and rural areas. So this is a question of capacity building of labor force for resilience of local labor market, supporting fintech services. Fourth question, improve transparency of municipal government and build up regular dialogue with business community, which is highly important for economic development. And number 5 is the building resilience infrastructure and improve connectivity. In addition, I just wanted to inform you that I think there will be a special presentation from Bakit Bek, the result of studies for Bishkek, but would like to tell you that in a longer prospect, to ensure assistance, we have prepared an e-learning course, a platform, which is good for this analysis because cities may deal with the economic problems caused by the pandemic and COVID. So far, this is This program is only in English, but we'll be happy to translate it into Russian. We have representatives from the academy. There are quite many universities, and so we'll have a chance to prepare this e-learning program. And Kyrgyzstan, we do hope that specialists, there will be specialists in Kyrgyzstan available who are aware of these approaches. Would like to give the floor to Bakit to present the results of this study. Thank you. Good afternoon, dear participants of the workshop. Let me offer you briefly the results of this diagnostic study that we did jointly with the mayor's office last year. So in fact, what Gulnara has just demonstrated, we've done, we've also carried out an analysis, and in fact, we are now doing the plan for sustainable economic development, the performance indicators, and so we realized that we should not do a separate plan, but rather include this in the plan for economic and social development of the city and in the mayor's economic plan. So there are 5 main items in this diagnostic study. So let me show the results and recommendations, because it take a long time to talk about diagnostic itself. So the first recommendation that proceeds from the process itself and the introduction of data and the models. So it is recommended that Bishkek should create mechanisms for collection and exchange of data on the city on different subjects related to the resilience and sustainability of the economy. Also, it need to pay more attention to the resilience of the local business environment. Bishkek should strive for diversification of its economy, expanding its possibilities so as to achieve by means of formalizing certain economic sectors to limit the share of informal sector in the overall volume of city output. So it's first of all the construction services and others, as also improvement due to the creation of municipal program for professional training and retraining for unemployed women, youth, and other vulnerable groups. Next point, to improve to raise the sustainability of the local financial system and increase transparency. On the 4th item, the sustainability of the economic governance in Bishkek. We should deal with the we should arrange a regular dialogue with local businesses, in addition to disclosing information on municipal assets that will probably contribute to the dialogue, for improving the public-private partnership. On number 5 is talking about basic infrastructure services and extending the life cycle of the existing infrastructure in the water supply and sanitation media by investing in its upgrade, ensuring the infrastructure for water supply, increasing the volume of processed recycled waste, reducing the amount and the volume of this waste either burnt or dumped, and ensure an reliable access to internet for all households. So that's basically all we wanted to talk about. There are 5 key main recommendations, but of course there are much more smaller scale measures that we would like to integrate as we work on the plan for socioeconomic development. Thank you. Thanks so much. Bakit would like to give the floor to Rashid Ibrahimov, Director, Department of Economy and Investments of the Mayor's Office in Bishkek. Good afternoon, dear workshop participants. We are pleased to participate and to see all of you here in this important event. What I would like to say as regards the presentation that Mr. Santabeka was just offered to us regarding the plans for the development of city sustainability. So right now, the new measures are being developed. Bishkek 2026, like a green capital that includes the key key blocks of measures in this area. In order to increase the economic sustainability of the city, Bishkek works in the following areas. To work out recommendations and guidelines for the mayor's office to raise investments and to create the most favored regime for investment activities, and also the sustainable economic development. The mayor's office has organized a council, business council, and right now to improve the efficiency of this council, it's mostly talking about business environment. That is, we have already carried out some organizational activities. So the chairman of this council, of course, is the mayor of the city, and also talking about the activities of the local self-government bodies together with the Department of Economy. They have developed the program for the development of entrepreneurship in Bishkek for the next 2 years. That is now under approval. Apart from that, the mayor's office of Bishkek is developing the public-private partnership program in the key areas, social, transport, education, and healthcare. So the implementation of such projects on the basis of PPP will allow us to advance further towards economic growth. So that program will help investors to raise more investors with clear-cut, clearly identified risks. And Lara Jan just mentioned the 113 projects within the framework of the private partnership, and we are ready to cooperate on that to join this project. So we will be happy to work in this area. So thanks so much for your attention. Thank you. Are there any questions to these presentations? I mean, the study and this presentation, and thanks so much for your presentation, your interest in this work, and for your support. Can I add a few words? It's not to these presentations, but just as a comment, thanks a lot, first of all, for inviting me into this event. I think I've heard about this large-scale study, which was implemented in 16 cities. My name is Joplina Bakieva. I think the FAO heads should have been present here, but unfortunately they were unable to attend. But let me say that FAO is actively involved in organization of different events, taking into account development of farming, agricultural programs. So yesterday, as we mentioned, and we are ready to be in touch on a constant basis. So as based on the results of recent research, we would like to express our readiness to work jointly with the UNECE and the mayor's office. Thanks so much. We are aware that the FAO has a program on certain cities, and so that's a really great opportunity for the city to raise additional resources, perhaps, precisely on this subject. So that's really very good context. So thanks so much for your participation. If colleagues from UNDP may wish to say a few words on the projects, any colleagues, if you have any interest on that. Thank you very much. Kasibekov. I am an aide to the resident representative UN and the industry of the Kyrgyz Republic. Well, in fact, we do not have the projects on Bishkek itself. We've discussed with the deputy mayor certain ideas, including the green development of the city. But what I would like to say that, in fact, we are working on a new 5-year development program. And within the frame of this program, the local development, including development in a rural and urban municipal borders is of strategic interest. So when we start working on this sub-program, we will definitely meet with mayor's office representatives and with their divisions so as to include precisely the activities, the measures that reflect the key challenges. Thanks so much.
Другие международные организации, я думаю, что это будет очень...
It is great to have here representatives of other international organizations that will definitely help to develop the cooperation of the city with other international organizations and then promoting further projects. In this connection, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Amiraev, the head of the Housing Monitoring Department of the State Agency for Architecture, Construction, and Housing. Thank you very much, Gulnara. I would like to greet all the participants of this workshop. On behalf of our agency, I would like to greet you all. I head the Housing Development Department. It is my pleasure to note that what we have discussed over the last couple of years has forged out into a practical development of a program and feasibility study for 5 pilot settlements in Bishkek. I would like to here and now note that the issues that have to be resolved within the framework of this program are multifaceted. They are devoted to the resolution of issues of the transportation and the basic infrastructure issues. We have to resolve the issues of social nature, employment issues, and a number of other issues as well. I would also like to know that Gostroy will continue to support and promote this program, and we stand ready to cooperate. I would like to briefly outline the topics, the primary topics of Gostroy. You know that this is the primary authority in urban development, and we have standards for the urban development documentation were approved in 2018, and the quality program for the development of such settlements will find a practical reflection in the master plan of urban development of Bishkek. I would also like to note that we are working in the engineering, infrastructure development, and environmental issues resolution. We are outsourcing some of these issues to the private sector as well, and this should be reflected in the program. There are issues of efficiency and effectiveness, which are very important as of today. I would like to say that we are directly working with 2 departments. One is the Sustainable Development and Sustainable Energy departments. And we're currently working on the energy efficiency development program in our country, thanks to the support on the part of that project, improving the capacity, national capacity in the energy efficiency area. Last year, we finalized a stage of implementing the law on energy efficiency of the buildings. And we actually, we had 20 energy auditors launched. That means that all the newly built and reconstructed buildings must be certified as energy efficient. So briefly, this is an outline of our activity, but we will continue to work together. And we have a national institute, and I am sure it will participate in our further joint efforts. I would like to wish you all good luck, and thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much, Maksat, for this important information you shared with us as regards the important role of your agency as regards these the settlements and the energy efficiency issues. Any questions? There seem to be no questions. And I would like to give the floor to representatives of another two international organizations that are working here in Bishkek. And we mentioned it yesterday at our meeting in Kanesh, that the coordination of donors is very important. We will try to do our utmost to coordinate the activities of those international organizations that are active in Bishkek so that they could share what they do here. It is my pleasure to give the floor to Olga Shashkina, who actually joins us from Brussels. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. First of all, I would like to thank you for the invitation to participate in this workshop. I'm the specialist of UNDRR, and I work on the urban resilience issues and improving urban resilience. I would like to share my presentation with you on the screen, but it seems there's some kind of issue that I'm facing with this presentation sharing. I will try to fix that, but if I fail, I would like Gulnara to ask to share this presentation. I'm not sure if I have this presentation. Unfortunately, well, you can actually, we will definitely distribute your presentation later. I would like to say a few introductory words. As you probably know, back in 2015, all the member states of the United Nations adopted the Sendai framework, which includes a number of activities until 2030. And it includes the strategies, urban strategies, in reducing the disaster risks within the framework of our activity of UNDRR and improving the resilience and swift implementation of the Sendai framework. We cooperate with the capitals of the Central Asian countries in improving the urban resilience. And these activities include coverage of biological risks and pandemic-related risks. The strategy of these activities is based on self-assessment, and we use the self-assessments of the cities. There's a preliminary assessment, and there's also a special checklist devoted to the healthcare coverage. And these assessments are carried out by working groups that are created in order to support the regional offices in the Central Asia. I would like to say that that the pre-assessment is based on 7 criteria, and the health coverage assessment, for instance, is based on 23 criteria, and there's a detailed assessment based on 117 indicators. And we work together with our technical groups based on these indicators. I would like to know that the pre-assessment of the healthcare system has been carried out already, and at the end of September in Bishkek, for instance, and we have a very strong technical team in Bishkek, and we have obtained very high quality results. And in March next week, we were supposed to have a detailed assessment within which we were going to cover the 117 indicators. But unfortunately, as of today, all the missions have been suspended. And my colleague who's a national officer based in Kyrgyzstan will now continue to work with the mayor's office of Bishkek in identifying new dates for this assessment. But despite this, I would like to note that the results of the pre-assessment of the healthcare system, by the way, I wanted to know that Bishkek was the first city in the Central Asia which joined this initiative, which actually unites cities globally. And in addition, this pre-assessment was carried out together with the representatives of some independent organizations. They were our facilitators, and the healthcare system assessment was carried out, was organized and facilitated with the World Health Organization. And unfortunately, we have to postpone this pre-assessment, but the results of the two assessments that have already been completed will definitely be shared with the necessary structures. And we hope that the results will be taken into account in the process of UNSCF, and will be used to inform the activities of the UN system organizations in Kyrgyzstan, active in Kyrgyzstan. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much, Olga. Maybe some of the colleagues present here today were involved into these activities that were referred to by Olga. May I add a couple of elements that have yet been uncovered in my presentation. The first thing is that the assessment actually includes working out recommendations by the working group and UN agencies. As soon as we actually have the results of all the assessments, so all the three assessments, we will provide the first draft to the mayor's office and to the UN system so that we could ensure that we take a synergetic effort in promoting this work further. And what is important, the strategy is going to be worked out after this report is endorsed. In fact, the strategy is worked out after this report is endorsed by the mayor's office of Bishkek, and it will be based on two important elements. That's the understanding of risk on the part of the city of Bishkek, and we have a holistic approach to it, and we cover the crisis situations, including earthquakes, pandemics, and so on. But we also include the environmental stress, for instance, like quality of air and things like that. But the second, nonetheless important element is the priorities, development priorities of the city itself. And these are the main founding principles. Thank you very much, Olga. And if there are no further questions, it would be very important for us to coordinate our activities here, because we understand that we are operating in one and the same city. It would be difficult you have to have a capacity to be implementing two separate strategies. We have to somehow coordinate our activities. And with that, I would like to give the floor to another colleague from another international organization, to Matthew, who represents UN Habitat.
So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for all of the fantastic and interesting presentations and interventions so far. I'm Matthew Nelms. I'm here in place of Katja Schaefer, who is the Interregional Advisor and Program Manager at UN Habitat. So I'm going to quickly present UN Habitat's involvement in Bishkek, and then I will give a short presentation on the World Urban Forum, which will take place this summer in Poland. So Bishkek is one of 5 cities in the ECE region, which is part of the capacity development part of the Smart Sustainable Cities project. So based on the priorities which have been identified by UNECE in their Smart Cities profiles, we have identified key themes for trainings. So these training sessions are going to be hosted later in this year, and they're going to focus on the following topics of data collection and management, which we've already talked about today, as well as digital transformation, housing and informal settlements, and solid waste management. So all of these themes have been brought up today as priority issues for Bishkek City. To enhance the efficacy of these trainings, we have developed a questionnaire that we will soon ask UNECE to disseminate in Bishkek to improve our understanding of the training needs of the city. So we'll appreciate your help with that in the coming weeks. Once we've done that, we will then be looking for a representative from Bishkek to attend the World Urban Forum as part of this project. So now I'd like to share my screen and quickly share a few informations about the World Urban Forum. So I hope you can see my screen now. And right, so the World Urban Forum is the largest convening of sustainable urbanization activists, thought leaders, and policy actors. In June 2022, more than 10,000 people will be welcomed in virtual and in-person sessions to the city of Katowice in Poland to explore innovations, solutions, and policy opportunities to transform cities for a better urban future. So the World Urban Forum is shortened to WUF, just for your information. So WUF stands for World Urban Forum. Over the 5 days of the WUF, there will be keynote addresses, plenary assemblies, roundtable discussions, and other forums. UN Habitat and its host government partners in Poland and the city of Katowice will curate conversations and encourage the sharing of best practices. So we can see some great pictures here from previous WUFs that have happened all around the globe. And of course, every time the heart of the World Urban Forum is the network of partners who are involved. So that can be citizen activists, local government representatives, academics, or representatives from the private sector. But every time the success of the World Urban Forum really depends on these people's contribution. So this year's WUF, there are going to be 6 main points, sort of key dialogues around which the conversation will circle. So this year, the key themes are equitable urban futures, greener urban futures, innovation and technology, future urban economy and finance, urban planning and governments, and building urban resilience. So again, lots of themes that we've discussed today. Hopefully there's going to be lots of informative and interesting content that Bishkek can really get involved with here. The WOOF is comprised of different types of events. And we can see in this graphic here on the right, there are 7 different types, 7 different main types, which I'll quickly present. So firstly, we have networking events, which will offer an opportunity to make connections and share ideas and best practices, and also establish the foundation for future partnerships and relationships. We then have Voices from the Cities events, which will present solutions to the specific challenges confronting cities themselves. Local and regional governments, citizen networks, and organizations working within cities are the typical hosts of these events. We then have the Urban Library, which is a space to launch publications, research reports, books, or any other pieces of evidence to support sustainable urbanization. SDGs in Action events aim to draw linkages between sustainable urbanization and global goals. One UN events are hosted exclusively by UN agencies, funds, programs, and intergovernmental organizations. Training events, meanwhile, are platforms for training providers to teach skills, knowledge, tools, methods, and instruments. And lastly, we have the Urban Expo, which is a global marketplace of solutions on display for the duration of the World Urban Forum. So the dates are 26th to 30th of June, 2020. If you would like any further information, please visit the website, which is shown here. I can ask Gulnara to pass this presentation onwards to you. We're looking for as much involvement from Bishkek as possible, and we can be in touch with any further questions or ideas that you may have for involvement. So thank you very much. That's it from my side. Back to Gulnara.
Матью, большое спасибо.
Thank you, Matthew. Thanks very much indeed. We hope that Bishkek will present its project for this event. So in closing, would like to give the floor to Sultanu Sultanovic for a closing remark on this workshop. Dear participants, but of course, I would like to say thanks, first of all, to those who attended the workshop and providing information. Special thanks to UN, European Economic Commission, Gulnara Rol and Dmitry Mariasin. What I wanted to note, of course, we have received a huge amount of information, and we're really grateful to all for that. Would like to also to note the work of our expert for the great job that they've done. We have seen the first achievements as Bishkek received already the first grants. And so on the basis of grants, we would be able to carry on with our projects on 5 residential areas, but I do hope that this will not stop these grants. So this is a good project that will be financed probably by the Asian Bank and other banks. Also wanted to add to this point, so based on the recommendations provided, they're really important, but in the meantime, I wanted to know that proceeding from these recommendations that we've heard today, and of course, a majority of these issues, we are still working on this, and there are some unbiased recommendations which the city will probably won't be able to implement. But I know that one thing for sure, that Bishkek should not, so to say, brew in its own juice. But what is important, we should not stop at one point, and we should proceed further in this advancement. So thanks so much once again to Gulnara Rol for this amount of information, and thanks so much to all the participants. Thank you. Thank you very much indeed to everyone.